first thing that I want to talk about today is your club success plan, which is the blueprint for running a great Toastmasters club over the next year. And this will also cover a lot of general information about running a Toastmasters club. It'll also cover the Distinguished Club Programme, which hopefully many of you will be aware of, which is the system we use to set goals for each Toastmasters club and to measure how well they're doing. As I said, I really do appreciate you all giving up your time and missing Tour de France. It is a magical event. I remember when I was 12 and I went to Florida, I spent 6 hours in 35-degree heat waiting to see a space shuttle take off. And after that time, you saw this tiny dot in the distance gradually rising up. And I sat there thinking, that's the most disappointing thing I've ever seen. And then yesterday, I got to see this. Clearly, I did see a cyclist go past. Didn't manage to see any of the others, but I'm assured by the crowd noise in front of me that there was a peloton passing me. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Pelican. So let's begin by talking about the Distinguished Club Programme. Who knows what this is? Hands up. It's about half the people. Okay, great. So the Distinguished Club Programme sets out 10 goals for each club to reach. And each club is measured in terms of its success by how many of those goals that it achieves. I think it's a really good system because it keeps you focused on what makes a great club experience. Because the best clubs are the clubs that are bringing in new members, that are supporting existing members in earning their educational awards and in getting all their dues in on time and getting their club officers trained like you are doing today and making sure that the club's running smoothly. So it's not just a numbers game, it's a great set of goals to make sure that you stay focused on what's important. There are 10 goals, as I mentioned. The first one is for getting 2 Competent Communicator Awards, and then you get a second for another 2 Competent Communicator Awards. There's 2 points available for any 2 Advanced Communication Awards. So those are Advanced Communicator Bronze, Silver and Gold. And 2 points available for any of the Leadership Awards, which are Advanced Leader Bronze and Silver, and Distinguished Toastmaster counts as that as well, even though you don't really have to do anything to get DTM, you just have to get the other awards. It's a freebie really, isn't it, when you finish?
Of course it is.
If you get 8 new members, that earns you 2 goals as well. If you get 4 members trained, that's a goal. And if you make sure your membership dues are paid on time and your new committee is registered on time, that's a goal as well. And that one is a gimme. You can't really fail to do that as long as you manage to make your payments in September and March. Then you just get a goal for free, basically. So as well as encouraging your existing members, because you need to try and get 8 educational awards to achieve all your goals, as well as encouraging your membership, it's important for us as leaders to lead from the front and for us to be earning these awards as well. So I throw you the challenge out there, will you commit to earning at least 1 educational award for your club this year? Because it's great for us in terms of development, it's great for the club in that we earn a goal, and we show our membership that everyone in the club is growing and we can lead from the front and really push achieving our goals. And the best thing as well is that if you achieve 5 of them, not only do you get the title distinguished, but you also receive a ribbon for your banner. Some of you may not be quite as excited about collecting ribbons as I am, but I think it's well worth the effort. So the key, I think, to achieving these goals is to really start planning early. In my year as Leeds City President, I started planning who was going to get the educational awards in May. I didn't get elected till June. So I really don't think there's such a thing as starting too early. Now is a great time to identify the members that you think over the next 12 months can earn these awards and get the goals for your club. And it's an increasingly tough game to beat all the clubs because, of course, not only can we all have a bit of a friendly competition between the clubs in Area 15, but you've also got your club histories to compare. So if you've seen on EasySpeak, you can actually pull out a graph of how your club has performed over the last 12 years. And I've pulled these off. So that one is Leeds City. It's off the chart this year. I'm not bragging about that, but it is off the chart. That's Doncaster, I believe. Hull, who've gone from 2 to 8 this year. I think that deserves a round of applause. That's fantastic. Also, White Rose, again, distinguished for the first time ever. Both those clubs failed to qualify this year, and this year are select distinguished clubs. So they've done really well. And then finally at the bottom we've got Sheffield and Cummings, who again distinguished for the first time ever, I believe. Also, wider across the district and across the world, people have really upped their game this year. Last year, only 4 clubs out of the 300 in District 71 achieved all 10 points on all 10 goals in the Distinguished Club programme. This year there's at least 12, and there may have been more because I checked that 2 weeks ago. And UK and Ireland as a whole have actually slipped down because we normally get about 90% of our clubs as distinguished. This year, West Africa have got 100%. So in order to be the best in the world, the benchmark has really increased, and we don't want to be losing to a bunch of foreigners, I don't think. Trying to, yeah, if I can sink to the level of trying to invoke some patriotism, which is, of course, the fancy word for racism. But it's far more socially acceptable to say patriotism. I could have made a comment about snooty Londoners as well. How do you register these awards? That's a question that a lot of new committee members have. And at this point, what I wanted to do was present a demo of how you can register awards on Club Central, which is toastmasters.org website for us. Unfortunately, because the district has split, they have closed down Toastmasters Club Central for our district completely for the whole of July. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do anything until August. But I will briefly show the website anyway. So, as club officers, you'll be able to log in to toastmasters.org, wrong screen. And once Toastmasters have processed all the registrations, you'll have this button called Club Central. And this brings up a list of all the clubs that you have admin rights to, which for all of you will just be one club. If you then click onto that,
Yeah, you have to click that red banner because I think it's confusing. You think you click on the words, you click on the red thing.
on this thing.
Yeah.
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 I had to email Toastmasters and I was like, where's Club Central?
I
There's
know.
no link.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, click the red thing.
Yeah. It sounds stupid, but
Yeah,
it's not obvious.
no.
It's like anything.
It's worse for me as well, as a software consultant. When you have to email people and say, is there a link? I can't find a link. So this gives you all the things that you can do as a club admin. So normally you could submit a membership application and pay your dues. These are disabled at the moment though while they reorganise the district. You've also got update your club officer information, which is where you will put next year's committee in at the end of this year. Or if you have any other changes during the year, you have club officers leaving and new people coming, you can change that at any time using that. Update your club mailing address, submit educational awards for members. Once someone has earned an educational award, you go into that section, you select the member, you select the award, and then you have to fill in all the dates that you need, that they've completed their projects on. And if anyone wants a demo of that, we can cover that later. There is also the Distinguished Club Programme reports page, which will show you how your club is doing and how all the other clubs are doing, and it's very detailed. To that. You can break it down by district, division and club performance. And that will give you a breakdown of every single club, which goals they've achieved, how many members they've got. Do note the big expand and collapse buttons, because I know every time I go onto this page, I'm there going collapse, 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 collapse to try and find area 50. And if you just hit that button, they all disappear and then you can just open the ones that you want.
Scroll button does quite well as well, Chris.
And I don't have a scroll button, it's a Mac.
Sorry about that.
So one of the best ways of making sure you hit these goals is to write a club success plan. And this is a template provided by Toastmasters where you go through and you set your goals for the club and you write about where you think the club's doing well, where the club can improve, and set out your vision for the club over the past 12 months and if over the next 12 months. And if you're a president, this is especially important in setting out the direction that you want the club to go in. It's also worth mentioning that if you want to do your advanced leader bronze, which you get for doing some educational sessions and serving on the committee, your time served on the committee is only valid if you've helped create this club success plan. So I will bring that up and we can go through that as well. Is that displaying okay? If I sit down, can everyone see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. The best way I can describe this is incredibly American. There's a lot of useful information at the start, then you can enter your committee members, and then it talks about things like the values. What are the values of your Toastmasters club? Helpfully, it provides the Toastmasters International values, which, as I'm sure you know, are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. So I would recommend that you fill this out by selecting this. That's that section complete. Team operating principles. What principles do your club officers hold? Potential obstacles is a good chance to look at what might be blocking your Toastmasters club from really achieving all its goals. And the questions like this go on. Eventually they get quite useful. This section looks at membership, how many members you've got, how many members you're aiming to maintain, what your club's current educational status is, and how many awards you think you can earn over the next 12 months. What potential obstacles could there be for people not being able to earn their educational awards? Do you have, for example, are you struggling to fit people in to get speeches? Do you need to create more speech slots? Are you missing educationals so that people can't get their leadership awards or their advanced communicator awards because your club's a bit lax on educationals? It certainly was under my presidency, I'll be honest. What do you use to create, promote your educational program? And then it asks you to create an action plan. So this is where you can say who is going to earn the educational awards and how can we help our members really progress through to make sure that they are earning these awards. There's also a section for membership. So 25% of your club members will leave each year. So just to stand still, we need to go out there and we need to find new Toastmasters that want to get involved with the club. So how are we going to create that? What's the plan for getting the Toastmasters brand out there and bringing those people in? For each one of these sections as well, it's not just creating an action plan, but it also wants you to add a time scale and wants you to add who's going to be involved and how will you assess your progress. So it's a really good template for creating SMART goals. It's also, again, training, administration. Are you going to pay your club dues on time? What obstacles are there to paying your club dues on time? Perhaps your treasurer has stopped answering any of your emails or phone calls for 2 months. I'm sure that hasn't happened to many clubs. And then at the end, you all sign to say, I think this is a great club plan. Not that I've ever actually signed one of these, but you should do officially. So that is the club success plan document, and I can send you one of those, but it's also available. If you just search for it on the Toastmasters website, you'll be able to get hold of it. And it comes as an editable PDF. So one of the great ways to put it together is to bring a laptop to one of your committee meetings and just fill it out, go through each of the questions and say, well, what do we think about this as a committee? You can then fill it out in your committee meeting, email it round afterwards, people can have proofread round and say, that's not what I meant, or yeah, that looks fine. And then your entire committee has got involved in creating it, you've got everyone's input, and you've done it nice, quickly, simply, but put together a really great, solid plan for your year as club officers. Does it work? I like to think it does. I think both clubs in Leeds put together a plan last year, and I think that they both did quite well on the Distinguished Club programme. In terms of Oh, now I remember. So a great way to identify which members are able to earn educational awards, which need some encouragement, which are just getting on fine by themselves, is to use the charts that you can find on EasySpeak. So if you log into your club, down on the left here, you'll find a communication chart and a leadership chart. And these charts detail each member, each manual that they're working through, and how many speeches they've done on that. So for example, I'm here, you can see all the manuals here that I'm working on. I've done those, I've done a few of those, so I've actually got loads of speeches still to do. So if you're the current VP Education, you probably want to get onto people like me and say, you know, you've got loads to do, you really need to be cracking on with those. Similarly, you might see some other members, like John, who's actually doing really well and just needs to get a few speeches down. There's one of these for leadership as well. It shows you each of the leadership projects, whether they've done it, which is the green ticks, or whether they still need to do it. And you can see which members are making good progress, which members are close to earning their educational awards. Area support. Obviously, as your area governor, I'm here for advice. You can phone me anytime, you can Skype me, you can email me. Hopefully you'll all have had my spam, and therefore will have my contact details from remorselessly plugging this event. But do feel free to give me a call anytime. I'm happy to offer advice. And I'll also be doing club visits. So you might have seen your area governor turning up before. We come to each club twice a year. And this is a chance for us to see how district, to see how you're doing, and also for you to ask any questions that you need of district. So the format will be, I'll come, I'll fill out, report back to Toastmasters, and then after the meeting we can sit down and have a bit of a chat as to how the club is going. So when I come, I bring a special form. Club visit report. So this is very similar to the Moments of Truth form, if you've seen that. And it has a section for first impressions, membership orientation, fellowship, variety and communication, program planning and meeting organisation, membership strength and achievement recognition. So between us, we fill out how the club is doing, what is the club doing well, where can the club perhaps improve, and also what we can do, or I can do, as a representative of the district to help you really achieve your goals. And these also include a plan for how you'll achieve your 10 Distinguished Club Programme goals. So before each club visit, I will email this over to you. You can fill out some of the information. When I come, I will fill out the rest of the information, and then between us we can go through it, and eventually it gets sent off to district. And these are a really good chance, I think, for someone from outside of the club to come in and offer you some honest feedback about how you're doing. It will of course be on the whole positive, but I really hope that I can offer you a new perspective on where the club is doing really well and perhaps where things could be changed. There's a number of resources that are provided by the area as well. Have any of you seen Jan's Dropbox?
Good.
Yeah, so if you ever need a lot of the resources, they're all, I don't know if Jan compiled them or Sheila, did you compile them?
Jan didn't.
Jan's compiled all the documents you would basically ever need into a Dropbox, I can send you the link round. You just click the link, it brings it up, and you can access all the files. We've also got a number of PDFs that we developed last year for promoting the club to visitors and new members. I don't know if Jan actually shared them around, but we have the visitor information pack. Yes. So this is something that we use at Leeds and White Rose a lot. And there's one for each club in Area 15 that gives information about Toastmasters, about what it is, the benefits of being in Toastmasters that I shamelessly stole from one of Michael's documents, and what to do if you want to join, how you can actually join. And we give these out to every time a new visitor comes to the club. There's also a new member information pack. And again, this is something that we use in Leeds, but it's across Area 15. And this provides information once a member joins as to what they do, how they can get the most out of their Toastmasters experience. So it covers the educational programme, the meeting roles. If you ever need a guide to being Sergeant at Arms or Toastmasters, this provides an introduction to the role and the bullet points of what you need to do. There's a section on how to evaluate, because a lot of members, when they first join, they're too scared to evaluate. Because there's someone there, they're probably maybe an advanced speaker, someone on the later half of the Competent Communicator Manual, and they're thinking, I've just joined, I can't evaluate this person, they're further ahead of me. But that's nonsense, because as soon as you join Toastmasters, you can evaluate someone because you can give them a perspective that they can't get for themselves. And so hopefully having this guide to evaluation will help give them a grounding in what they should do and really encourage them to start evaluating straight away. There's a section on using EasySpeak to sign up for speeches and roles. There's a description of the committee so they know what each of the officers does. And there's also a section on the benefits of joining the committee. So that means that as soon as a new member joins, they can see the benefits of becoming a club officer, and hopefully 6 months down the line when the elections come up, they're thinking, yeah, that's worth doing. And it makes it easier for us to all find our successors. There's a section on mentoring, where to go for help if you're confused, and what to do now, how to really get into the Toastmasters programme, as well as some top tips on club etiquette.
That's in the Dropbox, is it, Chris?
It isn't yet, it's on a shared Google Drive, but I will put it into the Dropbox.
I haven't had it now because I was an officer last year. Will you send it round, the Dropbox link, Chris?
Yes, I can, yeah. And of course, as well as area providing things for your club, of course, as a district, we ask things of you as well, one of which is turning up today, so thank you for that, and also organising and attending area events. So as well as the area training, that there will be another one next year, there'll also be 2 speech contests, one of which will be in September, and Doncaster has kindly agreed to host that, and one of which will be probably in March, and Leeds has kindly agreed to host that.
Are the dates?
Is that Leeds White Rose or Leeds City?
Leeds City.
Leeds City.
It's you. Did briefly mention it to Trevor.
He's thinking about it.
Chris, should I know the date set or?
Yes, I was going to look that up. So, well, the answer to that is no, because if you can't get a venue, we can move it. Ideally, the 21st of September.
Really? Is it not usually in the beginning of October?
It's normally the last weekend in September
Is it?
is when we've done it.
No.
Before, that's, yeah, because Leeds normally hosts it, and we normally do it at the end of September.
Beginning of October. Beginning of October.
The Area 51 is one of the first weekend in October, because that's usually when we have them.
Right.
And I lived in Queen.
Well, I think
Doesn't
it's
matter.
good if we can put it on separate
Doesn't matter.
weekends.
Yeah.
The division ones are at the end of October.
Yeah. It's also important to note that if you're the president, the vice president of education, or the vice president of membership, you sit on the area council as well. That is important. Honestly, I don't know why, but it is important. You do have voting rights. So to briefly sum up on some action points, get your first committee meeting scheduled in now if you haven't already. And in fact, don't just do it for the first one, but do it for the whole year. In both the Leeds clubs, we have a regular pattern of every 4 meetings, so once every 2 months we have a club meeting before we have a committee meeting before a regular Toastmasters meeting. So if you get the dates set now for your entire year, people can get them into their diaries. Identify your strategy. Where can the club improve over the next 12 months? Who's going to earn you your goals? To really show that your club is the club that we all know they are, great, strong, growing clubs. And write up your club success plan. Do that at your first committee meeting, I recommend. Are there any questions about what I've covered so far?
Chris, you mentioned, you keep talking about Easy Speak. Actually, the link to go in is toastmasterclub.org, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
It was d71.org, but it's now toastmasterclub.org.
Yes, it is,
Just to
yeah.
make clear, in case somebody is not used to using it.
Yeah.
Is that down as well? Is it the
No, it's
website's
not.
down?
It,
No, that's
That's working.
working.
They got themselves organised.
Yeah, we've been working on it for a year on sorting that out, so it should,
And it does redirect.
yeah.
Yes,
Put
it does,
D7
yeah.
in or
Does it?
does, and then it asks you which you want. The little drop down box on the left hand side. It asks you which you want.
Yeah.
The same
Front
link
left.
on your toolbar.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we've got one website that still covers District 91, which is the other the part that's dropped. It's moved away to the south of England and Wales. That's dropped out to District 71. And there's some people I can see looking completely blank now, but we did on the 1st of July, District 71 split. District 91 and District 71. We're still in District 71, but the website covers both. So to make it look
They've done it
seamless.
very well.
Yeah.
The club success plan, it says PDF thing. Is the intention just to print it off and have it on file and refer to it, or is there some sort of simple submission that has to go with it as well?
No, you don't have to submit it. It is just internally.
So and getting people to sign it, that then ticks their box to make it valid for their 6-month committee.
Yes. Yeah.
To get them to sign it.
Yeah.
With the leadership awards, is it sufficient to have the stuff filled in online, or do the manuals need to be filled in as well?
No, as long as you've got the dates from when you complete the project. So as long as it's recorded somewhere, you don't need to get it signed off.
You don't register your own awards.
No.
Sorry, so you could prove to the person who's registered that you've done it, so.
It's a good idea to have the book for backup for your own, so then you've got your actual evaluation in it.
You think that deadline?
Right.
Can I just confirm, at the moment I go on to D71 and it automatically reroutes to Toastmaster.org.